because you cannot use a normal cable. Okay, when you have voltage drop, you cannot use a normal cable. Okay. I don't know why suddenly this one is recorded, but anyway, it's not me who clicked record. Any of you can click record. Can any of you click record button? Okay. Okay, so one of you click that button. Okay. Okay. Anyway, so the three things I talk a lot because it's okay. First, before I go to that, why my exams tend to be a lot of essay. One thing like I just said, I had the only three calculations I do as an electrical engineer in the field is vehicle IR, vehicle VI, and voltage drop. Okay, I haven't seen any other calculation. As a civil engineer, because before I went to university, I built a coaching port. So there was some calculation in terms of mixture of cement, the proportion, because what we do is in some places we build the coaching port. Basically, we drive down piles. Okay, piles. We drive down the piles. Okay, and then we put a slab on top of it, and that's support. So simple. It's just like children playing, Lego toys, but it's just bigger scale. That's civil engineering. That's what I feel. That's what I felt. Okay. But in some places, the ground, the hard ground down there is too hard, so you can't pile. If you pile, you crack the pile. Okay. So what they do is they drill a hole using exactly an oil and gas drill bit. Okay. They drill a hole. And then they put a metal casing. Of course, they put a metal casing first and then drill a hole. And then they put another metal casing in the center of it. Okay. And then they pour cement in between the two casings. That's basically making a pile. Okay. So we had to do some calculation on what is the cement mixture according to the hole. How deep is the hole? So basically, in my life of working, I did this pretty much 4 calculation: vehicle IR, vehicle VI, the voltage drop calculation, and the cement mixture calculation. Okay, basically the 3 things in cement, right? You got sand, stones, and cement. So according to the depth of the hole, we look at a table, and then we formulate different mixtures of cement. Okay, so that's the only 3 calculation I ever did in my working life, which is like, I don't know, it's a long time. If you include my time before, it's about 27 years after degree, but if you include my time before degree as a builder of the coaching port, if you add another 2 years, 29 years. Okay, so okay, so that's why my exams are simple. Is I think all you have to do is write something. Don't ever leave anything blank. I still see some people leaving something blank. You see, my exams are similar to Cisco exams. Okay, Cisco Wyman Chargeman exam. I don't know about UCTS Wyman, but in Cisco, because all my exams that I took for my qualifications are from Cisco. Okay, I can send you my certs. Just let me see. Okay. Okay. So you can see I took a lot of this Wyman, I mean, not Wyman, but a lot of Chargeman exams. And all my exams were in Cisco. Right now, there are other people offering the exams. But I took all of mine in Cisco. Okay, because I did mine earlier. When I did mine, Cisco didn't have, I mean, the only people offering it was Cisco. Okay. So now there are other schools, they're allowed to offer the exam just like UCTS, for example. Okay. So in the Cisco exam, it's a lot of writing. Okay, it's all essay. Very little calculation. One exam, I remember one calculation. Okay. It used to be tough calculation, but by the time I took it, it was the easy calculation. And until now, it is that same easy calculation. I mean, easier. I wouldn't say easy, but just easier. I can tell you, I can guarantee if I give you the calculation now, most of you will not be able to do it unless I teach you how to do it. Okay, but the calculations are not like the one you see in university. These are really what you use in industry. Okay, so they're a bit different. So one exam, one calculation, and out of 3 different topics, so they might choose which of the 3 exam calculation question to give. But the rest of it is essay. And there's a lot to write. And so whenever I take my exam, sometimes like 20, 27 pages of A4, okay, I really write a lot. Of course, I want to be top student lah, so and at least one of my exam, the EIU who gives the cert came out, the second board, number 2 boards came out and said, oh yeah, you're a top student. I mean, the thing is that the essay is what you use in industry. Okay, you tell the story of how things works. Okay, you know how it works. You're not supposed to do the job. Okay, so you can, if you know how it works, you can write an essay about it. Okay, so that's why all my exams are essays. Okay, so I just had the exam, and this 3 will come out. Okay. Okay. Comet became bankrupt. Okay, how Comet became bankrupt. Okay. What was the management decision which was wrong to cause it to become bankrupt? Okay. And hopefully you will learn from this mistake and don't make the same mistakes. Okay. And then the second thing was IBM lost its entire hard disk manufacturing division. Okay, due to a mistake. Okay, so you must describe that. So these are all high point questions for your exam. Okay, and then WD factory eventually closed in Kuching in 2009 to another mistake. So the first 2 was the research leader's mistake. Okay, the research leader in US made a mistake. Okay, the last one was our own engineers in Kuching making a mistake of not basically not respecting the workers. Okay, so yeah, there's another question in your exam. You must explain
Sir,
Huh?
may I ask this sem got PT kah? Society.
I already sent you the assignment. The 3 assignment last, I think last Friday night, right? I sent you that assignment will replace your PT.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir.
So there are three PTs, three
assignment.
three assignments will. So one of them is your normal assignment, and the other 2 replace your PT.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So another big question for your exam will be why treating workers in high tech, especially, is quite different from how the Romans, the ancient Romans, they treated their workers in building the aqueducts. Okay, and basically they were slave drivers. Okay, it doesn't work in high tech. Okay, the biggest example of why it doesn't work is I told you I went for interview in the neighboring factory expat. Okay, so the big boss was one of the biggest boss. They interviewed me because I went for engineering course, so they get a big boss to interview. And he told me during the interview that if a worker just bring in 1 grain of salt, and because he's angry with the boss and throw it in any of the chemical tanks, there's so many chemical tanks there, the whole extract output is gone. Okay, so you can see how critical high-tech factories are. I mean, I heard in other places they solve this by putting huge amount of cameras. For one thing, that is bad because it intimidates the workers. Okay, you're being watched 24/7. You end up like, you have to behave like a robot, and that's a bad idea. I mean, the best way is just to treat your workers properly. Okay, like I told you, the solution that XFAB found, because 2 factories closed down in the same neighboring factories. Okay, basically my factory, Western Digital, and the neighbor factory, Samina, closed down. So XFAB was very scared that the same sickness, will get to XFAB and cause XFAB to close. So XFAB suddenly promoted one of their most friendly engineers to be the boss. Okay, he is Gary Chu is his name. I know his first name is Gary. I think it's Chu. Yes, a young guy with a boyish face, very friendly. And I met him about a few months ago. I was driving a big BMW. Okay, because he's a boss, right? Should be super high salary. Definitely more than even our VC. Okay, because this American factory. Normally, when you get very high up in the American factory like this, you get American salary pretty much. Okay, as if you are working in America. Okay, that's how they pay you. It's similar in oil and gas also in Miri. That's why you see crazy amount of salaries. I told you I'm working with my 3 FYPs, and all 3 of them have parents working in oil and gas, and their salaries are crazy. I mean, definitely you won't see those kind in Kuching. One of them had 2 brothers in oil and gas, each making 40,000 a month. Okay, I think in Kuching, I don't think anyone get even 40,000. And this family has two person living in the same house getting that much salary. Okay, so okay, so so basically what is happening is in certain industries they pay the foreign salary even in Malaysia. Okay, so that's why that happened. And in high tech, as far as I know, the big bosses get the American salary. Okay. 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 So these are some of the big questions lah. Okay. I'll send you this also later. Okay. So maybe you can go through this today. Okay. I told you this already, but and of course the biggest question is the power system lah. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. So the Sarawak electric power grid is a giant question. Okay. It is 20 marks question. Okay. So the rest are smaller questions, but these are the biggest ones lah. Okay. We go through any major things again. Okay. Of course, you got the IM and BM rules. Yeah, IM and BM rules. Okay. I told you about the accident last week. Okay. That was come out now. Oh yeah, one more big question. Okay. 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 So this is okay. So the last few Sarawak electric power grid is very important. Yeah, it's a 20-point question. Yeah, I've been telling you about this for the first 2 weeks. Yeah, so I'm not able to explain it very clearly. Okay. BMIM rules, the one is simple. You just have to copy from the rules because it's online exam. You just copy from the rules, but you need to give a commentary on it. Yeah, it's not just copy because it's online. You can just open the book and copy, right? But you need to give a commentary on each of the rules. Okay. And then this particular question is exactly what you get. I think it's a standard question in all IR interview. Okay. That at least in my IR interview, this was the question. What has engineers contributed for society? Okay. Actually, what happened is when you apply for IR, they will choose 2 engineers to judge you, and one of the two will contact you about 6 months prior to the IR interview. Okay, and he will give you. I think for me, he gave me 2 essays to prepare for. Okay, 2 out of maybe 5, because the IR interview you have to write 5 essays. Okay, I remember I write, because my IR interview was 8:30, 9:30. So 9:30 until 2 p.m. I was just writing. I never read so much in my life. My fingers all jammed. Okay, so it's a thing about 5 essays. But 2 of the 5 I prepared. Okay, because the engineer gave me the questions. Okay, so one of the 2 was this one. So of course this one I made it super long, because I was given the question prior to the exam. So I made it super long. Okay, and then corruption of boss is a big issue in Malaysia. In some other countries, it might not be an issue, but in Malaysia, it is. Okay, how I look at USA, where I studied for 6 years, there is corruption, but you don't see in a small level. Okay, policemen are not corrupt, as far as I know. But maybe the policemen will be corrupt if they're dealing with big, drug guys, like in the movies, sometimes you see, they don't deal with small money, because corruption is a big issue in America. I mean, it's taken very seriously. So if you get caught, you lose your job, you lose everything. Okay, so they don't take the risk of corruption for small things like they do here. Police ask you to give 50 ringgit, 100 ringgit. They don't do such things. Okay, if they do it for big scale. So there is corruption in America, but it is they think about it very carefully, and it's a big scale thing. Okay, as far as I know, and then I was there 6 years. I talked to all my friends. Nobody paid corruption to a policeman. Okay, and in fact, one small guy from Penang, Chow, we call him Chow. A small guy, small guy. He was caught by police for doing something wrong. So he was angry. He followed the police, big American police. He followed the police for a long time. This was in 1980. Okay, that long ago. Okay, I mean, people tend to say in the old days America is racist, but this guy did it. A Penang Chinese guy in 1988, much before you were born, he go and follow a police officer in America, big white American police officer, wait for him to do one traffic mistake. He actually did that. Okay, and he found the police officer doing one traffic mistake. He approached the police officer. I saw you doing that mistake. Why you catch me and you yourself do this mistake? Okay, I mean, you try to do that in Malaysia, police will really get very angry. Okay, so pretty much you can say this. In the news, they say a lot of racism in America. It's not at all true. My experience is nonsense. They say that George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis due to racism. I'm sure it's fake. I mean, fake in the sense that it is a made-up thing to cause someone engineered the whole thing. I was in Minneapolis pretty much. That's where I studied. I did study in Minneapolis, but the closest big city to where I studied was Minneapolis. So I've been in Minneapolis maybe 20 times. I drove myself from where I studied to Minneapolis. Okay, and that was in 90, 91? No, 1991. Yeah, it has to be 91 because Only during my master's I had a car. Okay, 91 I started my master's. So I've been in Minneapolis, and I drove around Minneapolis. In fact, I saw a lot of mixed couples, black and white couples on the street. Okay, in 1991, much before you were born. So to say that they're racist in Minneapolis, I have my own suspicions. It is totally not true. I mean, why was I not caught? I'm black. Been to Minneapolis so many times. No one ever abused me. It's totally not true. The way they made it up in the news media. Okay, those racism was there much before those days. Probably in the 50s and 60s. I know as an Indian, I can't go to US before 1964. There was a law actually to ban Indians. I don't know about other race, but I know Indians cannot go there until 1964. They finally made a law that, okay, Indians can come in. Okay. So anyway, so this will be your exam topics, huh? Contribution of engineers to society is a very big one. I mean, well, of course, the biggest question will be your Cisco grid system. And corruption of boss, this one is also quite a high marks question. Okay, so you see, you have a lot to write. Okay, and that's exactly how the Cisco exams are. Like I said, I wrote in most of my exams I like 20 to 27 pages of A4 paper because they're all essay questions. Okay, so I believe that's how it should be. For engineers, you need to write a lot. And then another thing I notice is, once in a while, even UCTS, we call what they call an engineer from outside to come and judge our education. Okay, so the person we call is normally a consultant company, IR, because we are electrical. So when I was in Unimas, they used to invite me also. To be a spectator lah. Okay, so the IR from industry, he was a very senior IR from industry. I know him. So he was saying, I just hired this lady from your university, degree student. So I asked her to write a letter. She cannot write. And then I thought maybe she has a problem with English. So it's okay, write in Malay. No, man. She cannot write in Malay also. So, what is happening? She went through 4 years of calculation in electrical engineering Unimas. How is she going to write? Okay. There's no lecturers getting her to write. Okay. So that's the problem. And writing is very important. I think some of you know our top student in the history of USDS is Wong Chang Seng. Wong Chang Seng. He was in at least 2 of my class, and I marked his paper. He's definitely top lah. Okay. Even if I give him A, the next person I must give a C. Okay. Number 2 must give a C. That's how far he was ahead of even number 2. Okay. But I have to give the second person also A lah. Okay. But he was very far ahead. He had English, which is 100% perfect. Can write essay perfectly. So now he is an engineer in factory. It's a company in Sungai Merah. It's an electrical contractor. I forgot the name, but it is one of Cebu's top electrical contractor. Okay, He Brothers and Promax. Okay, Promax. So some people argue that He Brothers is bigger, others say Promax is bigger. I don't know which is the real biggest lah. Okay, so generally every town in or city in Sarawak has one or two very top. Okay, like Kuching, it is Timur Kencana. Okay, and Limachai. Okay, Limachai. So these are the two top in Kuching. So Cebu is He Brothers and Promax. Miri, I'm not very familiar, who is the top there. Okay, so Syrian I know very well is Hong Kong, because I did my water project for the kampung is in Sri Aman, but that portion of Sri Aman is in charge by West Coast Syrian. Okay, so Hong Kong, very rich in the guy. Okay, okay, so there are always some very top contractors lah in different cities. So anyway, Wong Chang Seng is working for Promax, and then the boss of Promax happened to know one lecturer in UCTS, IR Ting. He retired already. So IR Ting, a civil engineer. So IR Ting told me, "Hey, your student, Wong Chang Seng, this boss of Promax, I met him." He said, "Wow, perfect. He never found a worker like that good." Okay. So you see, it's not just me, not just the lecturers in UCTS gave him A, even the employer also gave him top. Okay. So because he specifically said that the boss needed to write letters before, and now he assigned all the letters to him because he was so impressed by his letters. Okay, so what I'm saying is your writing is very important, not just in university. Writing, especially essays, when you go to work also. You know, it's all communication. You know, you want a contract, you must write properly a letter. I'll give you a very good example. This, I think some of you know about JFK. Hang on, let me show you. Let me take my computer a bit first. Okay, you can see this guy, right? He was the president of USA. So 1963, I think a few months before I was born, they shot him. Okay, so I think some of you might see just of him being shot. Okay, this is pretty much the pictures of him being shot. Okay, so okay, I think that's the final shot. It's not the final shot. That's the final shot is head really split up. Okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty much about the, this before the, no, this is just before the final shot. This one is still got his head. By the final shot, his head had a big hole there. Okay, so there are a few shots lah on him. Okay. So anyway, what happened is this is the wife. Okay. The wife got married to later lah. Okay, got married to a guy. What's his? Okay, this is the wife. So he got married. She got married to this guy. Is it? No, it's not. Okay. Oh, I wish I knew husband. Yeah, this is the one. Okay. So after the husband got shot, the wife got married to this fellow, Onassis. Okay. He's a Greek tycoon. So you know how he made his money? He didn't have money. Okay. So he didn't have money. So he wrote a paper. Okay, he wrote a publication. I mean, just a paper he write. And then he got some schematics from engineers, because he's not engineers, right? So he got some schematics from engineers on super big ships, okay? Giant tankers and other ships lah. Okay. So because the engineers also want to make some money, they spend time going draw the ship out for him. So he promised them lah, okay lah, if it works out, we share lah a bit, okay? So he got engineers to design a giant ship, okay? So he got his paper, write out everything, and he go and gave it to the World Bank people. Okay, give to the World Bank, okay? We're making the ship this proposal, and he will lend me some money. World Bank actually was convinced enough. Why? His writing is good. Okay, his writing is good. That's it. Okay? So he wrote well enough, got all the schematics in order, and then the World Bank gave him, I don't know, probably a few billion to build the ship. And then he built the ship totally without his money, World Bank's money. And then he started having a shipping industry. And he became one of the world's biggest shipping guy. Okay, out of writing, nothing else. All he did was write. Okay, so that's why the Promex boss was very impressed by Wong Chun Sang, because he can write. Writing can make you a lot of money. Okay, so that's how. I mean, in the end, JFK's wife married him lah. Okay. I mean, he had a former wife, but I don't know what happened. I didn't find out. But JFK's wife finally married him. Okay. So, so what I'm saying is that writing, I think another case of this is the press metal boss. Okay. The press metal boss also was nowhere in the leadership of Malaysia in terms of money. Okay. I don't buy newspapers, but I passed by a newspaper stand and I found out he is number 2 right now, press metal boss. Okay, I just passed by a newspaper stand. Oh, number 2 in Malaysia. The richest guy is press metal Tauke. Press metal Tauke was nothing before. He writes something. He writes something, proposal, and of course it must make sense lah. Okay, I'm going to build this press metal factory. Okay. And these are all the schematics. And he went to World Bank also, because press metal is $1 billion. You cannot go to Maybank or RHB or Outlet Bank. They don't have that kind of money. So he went to World Bank also. He presented a writing to World Bank. World Bank gave him the money, mainly because he said his source of energy was hydro. Okay, World Bank don't want to hear about you using coal to start a factory. Okay, the world have enough problem with pollution. Anyone who's using clean energy, okay, they'll approve it. Okay, so that's why I'm saying that's the answer for your first question for your exam. Why hydro is so good for Sarawak? Once you build it, you don't even need to advertise. People like this guy, he just tell World Bank he's using hydro and they give him money to build factory. So when you build hydro, you don't even need to advertise to people that you have hydro. People will knock on your door because they can get money from World Bank, okay, to build factories. Okay, that's your answer to the first question of the exam. why we need to do hydro. Okay. 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 So the writing is very important. So that's why my exam is full of writing. So some of you are a bit slow, might not be able to finish in time if you're slow in writing. So get a good pen. Pen makes a difference. Sometimes some of your pen I buy from the store sometimes are very, very rough when you write. Okay, so I get good pen. Okay, I don't know if Pilot is a good brand now. You know, when I studied in US, this is a Pilot brand lah. Okay, it's smooth, so I can write very fast. Okay, of course mine is thicker because I have to sign an IR quite often and need a thick pen. Okay. So when I studied in US, you know, all my classmates were Americans, except for a few foreign students lah. Only about 4 foreign students in my class, Malaysian, Singaporean, and they're Cambodian Americans. So they're Americans, but they are Cambodians. So including Cambodian Americans, because they have Cambodians also hang out with us a lot. So including all of it is about 4. The rest are all white people. And every single student use Pilot. This is a Japanese brand. Okay. They use pencil. You know, in American universities, they don't use pen. They use pencil. And they use only Pilot pencil. Okay, the mechanical pencil. Okay. So I was surprised, you know, they are all Americans and they're all using Pilot. This is a Japanese brand. That was in 1987. Okay. 13 years from 87 to 93. Okay. So get a good pen for your online exam, so you can write fast. Okay. Okay. So I'm also preparing you for the CESCO exam. Later, when you take your CESCO exam, you have to write fast also. Okay. In fact, one guy who passed a lot of exams, told me he was not educated at all, okay, but he passed almost all the judgment exams. He told me his secret of passing is he just write from his experience. Okay, he just write as much as he can. Then he passed almost every single exam. Of course, now he's a super rich takela. Okay, but he passed almost all. Okay, he just write from his experience, and they like to see that. They are a bit scared when they see that your writing is all from the book. They'll be a bit scared of you. Okay, because they want someone who can do the work, not someone who can memorize. Okay, if you can just only memorize, they're a bit scared. Okay, because they give you chop, you can do. Chop you can do means you can do the physical work, but actually you can only memorize, which is very dangerous. Okay, I had one student before when I was teaching in Swinburne. If I give that person a note, he can give me with my mistake 100%. He can give me. Okay. In fact, I heard he does that in every class. So the rest of the class call him hard drive. Okay. He can give me 100% back what I gave him. I don't know how. Okay. It's not cheating like those days we don't have. I mean, you know, handphone that can store stuff like that. You know, handphone was just a simple phones those days. So he was really a memorizer. So as a lecturer, you are scared of those people like 100% memorize everything. Okay. So that's why I'm saying this guy, the top Tauke now, he told me he just write from experience. Sometimes a bit wrong now, mine. He just write from experience, and Cisco people who look at it, oh, I'm very impressed. He did this project, he did that project, and he made mistake, not exactly answer what we asked him, but this experience is very important. Can give him pass. Okay, so it's a bit different Cisco exam and normal university exam. Cisco exam, we want to determine really if you can really do the work, not if you can memorize. Okay, okay. Okay. So we go through this one by one. Okay, so you just remember why I'm giving you the essay questions. One thing is appreciated by outside, as Wong Chang Sang case. Second thing, you can be super rich if you don't write properly. You can be like Onassis, who is one of the largest shipping company. Okay, then you can be like the press metal Tauke. Okay, just you can write properly. Okay. 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 So so all my exams are full of essays, and you must get a good pen to write it fast enough. Okay. And this time I think it's a bit more than normal. You have to write even extra compared to the normal. I think some of you, all of you have been through my classes, and there's a lot of essay, but this time since it's online, it's even more. Okay, I ask you even more topics, so get prepared to write even more. Okay. Shit. Okay. Let's go through the first one. I think I've gone through most of this with you. Okay. Why Comet become bankrupt? Yeah, I told you this last week or something. Okay. Comet became bankrupt because when we first started, we worked as a team. Okay. There was good friendship between the engineers and the engineers and the workers, right? We all of us learn anything. Okay, it's a new factory. Okay, so we all learn from each other. But over time, what happened is egos are building up, especially among the engineers. Yeah, I mean, basically among the engineers. Okay, and there was the ego became so bad that they disrespected the workers. Okay, especially because when we conduct an interview, the queue can be about 1 kilometer long. So I heard quite a few engineers telling the workers, "You don't want, no man, I go and hire a new one. You see the queue during interview, we got 1 kilometer queue. I get rid of you, I hire a new one." Okay, which is totally wrong. You must show the calculation why it's wrong. Okay, I think almost all of you have been to my safety class. How you can show a bit of those calculations. How much it is when a new worker causes a crash. Okay, you can show the calculation. Okay, just show a bit. Basically, we make we make 168 days in 10 minutes. Okay, we make 168 days in 10 minutes. Okay, and when you have a crash, the parts to replace the machine after a crash is 300 plus 2 hours of downtime. Okay, 2 hours of downtime. Okay, so 2 times 60 over 10 times, okay, so that's 12 times 2, 24. Wait, sorry. Okay, so 24 times 168 because the 168 is, okay, 24 basically is 24 cycles of production missing due to 2 hours down. So you times this. Okay, 4032 plus 300. Okay, so it's 16,000 ringgit per crash. Okay, and a worker don't make one crash. The new worker will tend to make about 10 crash. So the mistake made by a new worker, we can't help it. He's a new worker. He or she is a new worker. It costs this much money. Okay, so that's 161,000 every time you hire a new one. If you look at it, okay, we say we pay the worker about, say it's a not qualified worker lah. Okay, so maybe you fail Form 5. I think we take fail Form 5, but as long as you pass the subject, you must pass maths, I think, as far as I know. And maybe there are some limits lah, minimum limits to take in a worker. So say we it's 1,000, okay? And those days lah, okay? 1,000. 1,000 gaji per month. 1,000 times 12 is 12,000. Okay. So okay. So 1,000 times 12 is 12,000. So basically, it is about 16 months lah, okay? Oh, sorry. Okay. Let me check calculation. 10 minutes, 2 hours downtime, 2 hours times 60, divide by 10. 24. $24 times 168 plus 300 times 4 in terms of ringgit times 10. Yeah, correct. Okay, so you must show this calculation for your exam. Okay, I'll send this to you also, but you look at this. How much it costs to get a new worker, at least in the Western Digital Factory, where the engineers are scolding the workers. You don't do, I get new guy, see? Got one kilometer of people on queue to get in. They actually talk like that. Okay, very angry. No wonder it closed lah. Okay, no wonder factory closed. Factory closed. Huge loss to Sarawak. Okay, okay, look at this. What they say is totally wrong, not true. It's definitely very expensive to hire a new worker. Okay, you look at this. There's 168 days in 10 minutes. Okay, and it costs $300 each time the machine crash. Okay, okay, how the machine crash is, you know, we are putting the disc between 9-ton platens and polish it. Okay, so you put it into the pocket. But if you put it slightly not perfectly in the pocket, slightly, you know, it's 168 days in one cycle. And one of the days out of 168, you put it not perfectly inside the pocket. In the pocket like this, you know, slightly not perfectly in. Okay, it causes the machine to crash. Okay, so a typical new worker will make about 10 crash. Okay, so $300 will change the parts. There'll be two hours downtime to repair the machine after the crash. Okay, it's a big, very messy situation once it crash. All like, you know, like rubbish all over the place. Okay, and then 2 hours times 60 minutes, right? Divide by 10 minutes one cycle, right? Times $2 per disc, American dollars. So it's $24 per disc, okay? But the 168 discs, okay? You can put the calculation in a different way lah. Two hours times 60 minutes times $2 times 168 over 10. Okay, you can put it like this also, can easier. Okay, there's 2 hours of downtime times 60 minutes per hour times $2 American dollars for one disc times 168 discs per cycle, and there are 10 cycles per every 10 minutes there's one cycle. Okay, every 10 minutes there's one cycle. Okay, so the total cost in terms of ringgit is 161,000 ringgit for a new worker. Seriously. Okay, assume the worker is getting 1,000 ringgit salary. Okay, and it's 2,000 per year. Okay, but never mind, we just take it at 161,000 divided by 1,000. 121 months. How many years is that? 161 months. The crash of the machine is 13 years. So there's no way a new worker is as good as an old worker, because a new worker that you take from outside will cost this much of money, 13 months, 13 years of salary because of the mistake he or she will make. Okay, you only have no crash statistically after you are senior worker. I mean, you have been there for a few months, then you stop making a crash. Okay, standard new guys, we all know. Okay, new guy, okay, get prepared for crash. Okay, so it takes 13 years of salary to hire a new worker. Okay, so the statement of the engineers was totally wrong. I can just replace you and get a new person. Sometimes the person has a issue. Sometimes it's illogical also. Okay, I heard one lady engineer scolding a lady, "Why you get pregnant?" This kind of stuff. You get that person angry for what? Maybe that the worker need a leave because she's pregnant or something, and then the engineer refused to give the leave. Why can't you just be a better engineer? Give her the leave lah, because obviously she needs to leave. Okay, so treat them properly. Okay, instead of that's definitely a senior worker. Okay, who don't make crash anymore, and you treat them properly. Who is benefiting? Okay, your company will benefit versus paying 13 years of salary. Okay, so it's totally a fallacy that a new worker can replace you. It might be true in the Roman aqueducts. I stopped using pyramids because I just realized pyramids are not. I don't believe they are made by slaves. Okay, they are much older than what people think they are. I believe they are machines. Okay, the pyramid, I believe, is an electrical machine. Okay, so that's why now in my exam also I put Roman aqueducts, so that one for sure is slaves, the Roman aqueducts. Okay, they are saying the pyramids was even before the pharaohs. They were there and the pharaohs just utilized them, but the pyramids were there in a much earlier age. Okay, so now I start using Roman aqueducts. Definitely slaves. That one, there's proper record over it. The aqueducts were built by slaves. Okay, the Roman aqueducts. Aqueducts are what they used to move water from one place to another. Okay, piping systems. Okay. Okay, pretty much like what I'm doing in my Kampung Abid project in Sri Aman, moving water from one place to another so people can live properly. Okay. Okay, so you must give this calculation for your exam. Okay, to basically explain why hiring a new worker is not a good idea. Okay, you have to hire a new worker. Okay, you hire a new worker, but don't go and call the old worker with this statement that I can fire you and hire a new worker. Okay, it's not at all true. Okay, it is very expensive to hire. Very expensive to hire a new worker. Okay. Okay. So this is pretty much like the calculation I gave you in the safety class. So it's the same calculation. Okay. So the best thing to do if you have a senior worker who you have a problem with something they're doing, try to solve it. Okay. Don't know what is it, but you, as an engineer, you need to try to solve the problem. Like for me, a lot of I know the illegal things like my men were doing is, okay, like football season, World Cup football those days, very famous. A lot of people got a lot of excuse. Emergency, I need to take emergency leave because grandmother died or grandfather died. A lot of grandmother, grandfather died during that time. Okay. So of course, we as engineers, we have seen this before, so we know what's going on. Okay. I mean, we are in the system, so especially the newer workers, you know, they give this kind of leave applications. We know what's going on. Okay. When you see leave, grandmother died, grandfather died, and you know it's a big football match going on. Okay. Other bad things, coming late sometimes. Yeah, coming late. So the best thing is, as an engineer, you go and talk to them. Exactly what's their problem. Maybe they really have a problem. You know, they're living in a certain place, and then they have to wake up. I mean, before the work, they have to start maybe 1.5 hours. There's one guy actually had to travel 1.5 hours to work. Okay, so you can give suggestions. Okay, maybe another method, if they're using a car, maybe in your case you might use a motorbike, might be better. Okay, you know, you can squeeze through the traffic, so you don't have to travel 1.5 hours. You can travel sometimes 1.5 hours. You know, Kuching jams are terrible, especially certain times of the day. So if you use a motorbike, you can squeeze through everything. Okay, like me in Cebu, I use a motorbike. Wow, I feel like a hero during lunchtime in Cebu. Big jam here and there. I just go to the front of the queue immediately. Okay. So you must talk to your workers lah. Coming late. What else are the problems? Leave, emergency leaves. You know lah. I mean, so maybe you can talk to management lah. You know, now it's football season, so we got to stand by lah. A lot of people need to take leave. So you make it known. I mean, it's obviously World Cup is coming up, so we need to, you know, we need to prepare for it. You know, don't pretend it's not there. World Cup is World Cup, so people will need to take leave. Yeah. So, and World Cup happened to be like 3 a.m., 2 a.m., so they can't work the next day. Okay. So talk to management. There's an issue. We cannot help it. People like the football, so we need to do something about it. Okay. And bring it out to open lah. Don't hide it. Okay. Then other issues. I mean, like that lady engineer, I still remember lah, getting angry for one worker getting pregnant. That's really too much lah. Okay. I mean, you senior workers will have their various problems. As an engineer, you need to figure it out. You know, help them figure it out. Maybe, okay, you as an engineer, you have better records. Okay, this person is late, and then his struggle is still late, and then but you find out that another person living in the same area is early. So you can tell this person, that person has a car. You drive to this person's house, park your car there, and follow this person to work. Okay, whatever reason, like, I mean, something like that, like, you know. I mean, things like that, you solve it with the senior worker to solve your problems. And then if it's a technical problem, I mean, you teach them. See, sometimes they don't know how to repair. They are repairing technicians, but they don't know how to repair. They take a long time to repair. Okay, so you go through step by step exactly the process of the repairing and where they can cut short. Okay, so these are the things engineers need to do for the workers. Okay, for example, this particular case, there's one technician who repaired this one. Okay, when you have a crash, there's normally every shift there's one person who specializes in crash. Okay, only he will repair the crash. So if there's two crashes, a big problem, because you have to wait for the guy to finish this one before you can do the next one. You have two crashes at the same time. But normally it doesn't happen now. So normally it's just one crash at one time. Okay, so so like this person, maybe he's taking 3 hours. So as an engineer, you're going to talk to him exactly where is the problem. Why are you taking 3 hours when other people are doing 2 hours? Okay, so you figure out, you see, instead of just blaming workers for their deficiency, you figure out where's the problem and try to solve it. As an engineer, you might have a bit more information than them in the solving portion, because technicians tend to be good in the hands-on, but they don't know the restrictions, okay, the outside restrictions. So as an engineer, you can help them in finding where the restrictions and the legal restrictions, or the the protocol restrictions that the factory put on the worker. Okay, so you can help them. Okay, like this person, when he wants to do this one, he got to cover up his whole machine because it's dirty and messy, right? And the rest of the room is clean room. So you can say that, oh, you need to cover up so properly, as long as you can do it without spilling the dirt to neighbor machine. You can save like, I don't know, 20 minutes. Okay, things like that, you know. So as an engineer, you work out things with a senior worker. That's the best way. Okay, you don't go and fire a senior worker due to some problems. Also, actually, sometimes it's not your problem; it's the engineer's problem. Okay, but engineers should take firing as a last choice. It's not just in my factory. It costs this much. I read an article that it is worldwide. It's a big issue. Okay. Okay. Let me show you. Okay, here in Google, firing a worker and employing a new one is cost a lot of money. So it's here. How much does it cost to fire an employee? LinkedIn is quite a respectable site. Actual cost of Though the actual cost of firing employees are somewhat hidden. Okay. Board of hire recruiters who search for new candidate, but how much? One employee to rest of staff. Terminating an employee can costly for business. Okay, can be costly for business. So it's not just in Western digital. Okay, it is a standard thing worldwide. Okay, so you always try to retain employee retention. Okay, as far as possible, try to keep your worker. Okay, here's something. When running a business, it takes time, it takes money to make money. You can make spending decision every day for betterment of the company. One of the most important investment you can make is in new people. Because hiring employees is arguably one of the most expensive part of running a business. Okay, so you've got to make sure that you get the best people, for the job every time. Okay? It's not just this one. Hiring takes a lot of skill, patience, time, and money, especially for recruitment and for startup, where every hire is crucial, from your CEO services to your office cleaner and everything in between. Like exactly how much does it cost to hire an employee? Okay, here there's some breakdowns here, but don't quote all this. I already give you the answer. Sometimes in exam they give me some very abstracting. Just give me this one. Okay, you just give me this one enough. At least you got a proper figure here. Okay, of the real case. Okay, sometimes those websites they give you, but they don't give you a particular case because they can't, because they are not in the factory. So they are just journalists, and they can't reveal facts of the factory. And I'm revealing you the actual fact of the factory. Okay, it costs 13 years of salary to hire a new worker. Okay, so you give me back this one. Okay, because that's a real case. Okay. Okay, so the next thing. So that's how. I mean, that's not a full story of how. That's not a full story of this one. Sorry. No, that's number 3. What I will just talk to you about is number 3. Okay. 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 So basically, what happened is that's the cost. All this is just part of the answer, right? So what happened? What happened is the workers became angry. They started a union. Okay. So that must be the second portion of your essay. The first portion of your essay is this one. Second portion of your essay is workers got angry. They started a union. Okay. So they registered a union. You must tell your whole story. Okay. Then what happened? The big boss of Western Digital flew down to Kuching, and he interviewed everyone, starting the union. Okay. And he gave a speech to 200 of us, executive staff. Okay. He said, "You are the problem. It's not the workers. You are the problem." Okay. And he said, "I give you 1 month to solve the problem. That means you make friends with the workers." Okay. So half a month later, I asked a neighbor engineer in my cubicle, "Hey, Chai, why the white man told us to make friends with the worker? Why no activity to make friends?" So Chai was saying, "They can try." You know why he said that? He said that because the top management of WD Kuching was like that with the politicians of Sarawak. Okay, so they believe they are untouchable. Nobody can touch them. Nobody can disturb their money. They're making tons of money. The top management making tons of money. I told you they're getting like US salary. Okay, so nobody can disturb them. Okay, so Chai actually said that they can try. And then exactly 1 month later, we were all asked to go to a canteen, a big canteen, and the podcast directly from US. The big boss gave a long speech about all nonsense thing, and then finally said, "We are closing down Kuching." All of us what? So I mean, you see, the local management didn't believe they'll do that because they were very strong with the state politician, because we are making a lot of money for Sarawak actually. Okay, because imagine we are given so high salary, the highest in Kuching definitely. Okay, we are given the highest salary in Kuching, and then every worker, I told you, they don't even want to buy a kancil. Too low standard for them. The lowest worker will buy a, what's a car? I forgot the Podoa, not a car. I forgot I wanted the car, but it's a bit higher standard of the Prodoala, the second level. Okay, I think now it costs about 50,000. That car. Okay, so they don't even want to buy the Kanchil. They want to buy the next level. So actually, I have the worst car in the factory. Let's say we have the worst vehicle in UCTS among lecturers. In Western Data, I have the worst car in the whole factory. Okay, I drive an old Proton Saga, and I still have my old Proton Saga, which is 31 years old. Okay, I found out how to repair it. That's why I keep it. It's a very good engine. I found out there are two problems in the old Proton Saga. One thing, the body joined to the frame using silicone which has acid. So my welder told me about this, so you remove all that silicone. They purposely did that so that your car will have holes and then you buy a new car. Okay, so I removed all that silicone and put the proper one. And then the second problem is there's a lot of connectors. Connectors to join wires. Okay. In the Proton, my wiper one day not working, my headlight not working. The problem, police will catch me. So I went to one shop. This one memang Proton board punya. Okay. One of the connectors below the dashboard, below the wheel, the steering wheel. There's out of so many, one of them, he opened it up. You see? He showed me. Proton board punya. It's rusty. He said, Proton purposely made that rusty. The rest are okay. That particular one is rusty. He said, memang Proton punya kereta memang macam ni. He said, all Proton car is like that. One particular connector is rusty. So he just went cut, straight, join, my wiper working and headlight working. So I went back home, I slowly cut one by one and join, one by one and join, and straight away put in a connector. The connector, the 2 ringgit strip, like that one. Solder first. I join, solder, join, solder. So under my dashboard, I got this kind of connectors. I remove all the connectors. And later I remove all the connectors in my engine block also. Inside the engine, also a lot of connectors. Remove all. I solder, put in connectors. That's why my car can last 31 years. You see, old cars, they purposely make some defects. So you buy a new car. Okay? So Proton Saga had 2 effects. The body and the connectors. Okay? So once you find those defects, you come last one. Okay, I found my defects. That's why I'm using my old Proton Saga. Every week I go to Kampong Abid. There's 2 hours from my home. I use my Proton Saga, my old Proton Saga. Okay, every week 4 hours drive, no problem. All 31 years old Proton Saga. Anyway, so you see the factory has a huge loss when it was closed down. The management was getting US salary. They lost, they got 0. Okay, from US salary to 0. And I tell you, it's not just the top management. There were a lot of people getting huge salary among the very top. I was just senior engineer. There are people above me, a lot of way above me. Okay, your salary is very high. And quite a few top people are all getting US salaries. Become like that. Okay. And the workers have all the cars, all suddenly cannot pay, All of them suddenly cannot pay the bank. Cannot direct all their cars, their house, cannot pay. Okay. And you might think maybe rich people might affected, the rich guys, they buy big house. I've seen some of their house. Wow, fantastic. I mean, I not only simple taste in my car, even my house is my house. Okay, simple house. Okay, so I paid off my house within 8 years. Okay, but I've seen some of the rich people, the Western retail top guys, their house. Wow, even I went even the cupboards in the room. When you close it, you slow down before it. Okay, the kitchen, the drawers, all you close it before you close it. You slow down. Wow, like BMW, even for cupboards and kitchen things, all BMW kind of standard. Okay, so even those people are affected because their house is like million or probably at least 1.5 million sometimes. Okay, those people are affected also because their house is so expensive. Okay, so it's a huge impact for the state. Okay, because all those people cannot pay off for their homes, their cars. So all because engineers didn't make money for the workers. Okay, so you see, so basically this question, the answer is you must give me this calculation first of why the worker is so important, despite the 1 kilometer queue of people waiting to get in. Okay, and then you must also say why the management in Kuching didn't believe they were close, because they are so close to the state government. But you see, why did the American close them? For America, a union is a very serious thing. I don't know why local management, I knew it because I was from studying America. Local management didn't believe union was such a big thing. Some worker issue, now we can solve it now. Not a big deal. You see, for the American, this worker issue is a very big thing. Because if Kuching was allowed to have a union, okay, there are 50,000 workers, okay? So worldwide, WD has 50,000 workers. Okay, so if Kuching was allowed to have a union, all 50,000 workers will demand union also. So what will happen? It will move to Silicon Valley, okay, where mostly our management and research center was. So what will happen? We don't have many customers like other companies. Maggie Me, so many people buy, a lot of customers all over the place. One customer don't like Maggie Me, still another customer will buy, right? But for us, it's different. Okay, we have only a few customers: Dell, HP, Acer, the big computer makers are our customers. They will ask, why do you bring union here? We don't like you. Western USA, the USA is like that, right? The western part never had union. Okay, so you brought union to this place which never had union. Management don't like union at all. Why management? One of the big boss explained to me why management don't like union. You see, union, there's a limit. A degree guy, like all of you are degree people, you cannot join a union. Union means no degree people. Okay? And there's a leader of the union. So because they got power, they'll come to the big meeting, big boss meeting, they'll come. And then big boss tend to be very educated, and then they'll talk something, and then the union guy, not so educated, so he cannot understand a lot of things, and then finally, sometimes they might make fun. You don't know this, man? Yeah, I mean, they make fun of the guy, the union boss, because he is not educated, and then end up the friction. You make fun of me in meeting. You go and tell his worker, demand more. Last time we demand 1 ringgit. 1 ringgit, like gaji. I mean, increased pay. Now we demand 100 ringgit. Okay. So that's actually a big boss told me this. Okay. Boss of my whole company actually told me this. Okay. That's why management don't like union. Okay. There tend to be a friction because of the education level. Okay. between union people and management. So Western USA never had a union. Okay. So if Western Digital bring union to Silicon Valley, which is in Western USA, the customers will say, we don't want you. We can buy all our products from Seagate. Okay, we ask Seagate to start new factories. We totally want to ban you. Okay, because we want to close you down. You bring union, we close the whole Western Digital down. Okay, so that's why the US management made the right decision. They would have closed, and you know what? Western Digital right now, the biggest by far, is making 19 billion. I think 19 billion US can compete with Petronas. Imagine, just because a few people in Kuching want to start a union, and the problem was not solved, a company the size of Petronas will have to die. Can you imagine that? Okay. So you can see how serious a union is. Okay. I mean, that time it was not that big, okay. That time it was about $7 billion income when it closed. Okay. Right now it's about 19 billion. 19 billion, I'm sure, yes, definitely can compete with Petronas. So imagine a small issue of few people starting union in Kuching caused a company like Petronas to die. Okay. And the top management of WD manager, I mean the big boss, said it's definitely not problem of the workers. Okay, he already concluded it's not definitely not problem of workers, it's problem of the engineers. Okay, and it was not solved. And because it's not solved, a company the size of Petronas will have to die. Okay, so that's why that's the story. You have to write all that. You have to give why the attitude of the engineers are wrong, why the statement that they can hire a new worker is wrong. Okay, because of the cost. It costs 13 years of salary to hire a new worker. Okay, and then why the local management didn't feel they will be closed down because they were close to the Sarawak government. And the US management made the right decision because they would have died. The whole WD would have died because of the union issue in Kuching. Okay? Yeah, so you must write all that. Why the union was so critical an issue and the local management didn't solve it, causing WD to close down Kuching factory. Okay? But some of you might be wondering, why is WD still in Kuching? What happened is it closed down, and later Hitachi bought over the factory. Okay, after some time, Hitachi bought over the factory, and then WD bought over the whole Hitachi hard disk division. Okay, so that's why they're back in Kuching. I don't know after how many years, fully back, probably 7 years later, something like that. Okay. They came back to Kuching 7, 8 years, maybe even 9 years later, they came back to Kuching. Okay, and then one of the staff who remained there the whole time, he told me that the same big boss came back and then gave a speech and he said, "We really regret closing Kuching, okay, because Kuching had the best workers, even in terms of engineers, because Kuching is the only place where you get engineers who stay without leaving. In Penang, they keep hopping. Singapore, they keep hopping. Johor, they keep hopping. There are 3 places where they make hard disk. Okay? Thailand, they keep hopping here and there. The engineers keep hopping to other factories. But in Kuching, there's no place to hop. So, like me, I was 14 years. In Penang, I think very rarely a worker will stay in a factory for 14 years. Okay? So, they regret closing Kuching, but they had to. They had no choice. Okay. So in newspaper, you might sometimes refer to newspaper. I tell you, a lot of things I'm telling you is the real story. Newspaper tell you some other story. Newspaper is like politically correct. The newspaper story officially was that WD in Kuching closed down because of economic issues. It's totally not true. Okay, it's 100% not true because heart is a very valuable thing. They would definitely there was huge demand for it. Okay, they closed down just because of this political issue. Okay. Okay. So, and then the next thing, another question that is a big about WD also. I told you last week, I think, about accident. Okay. Okay. This accident I told you last week, this also comes in the same question. Okay. Basically, you see, there's a 500 kilo Clayton, they call it Clayton. Okay. One of the promoted engineers, it's not a degree engineer, he got promoted. How the boss take money. Okay. So he was lifting up the Clayton like this. The technician was there. Of course, he will fall. Look at that. Obviously, he fell. If you hold it in the center like this, you won't fall. So this one is called a manual gantry. Okay, manual gantry. Okay, and this is a chain block. It's called a chain block. Okay, so the chain block has a lot of gears. A lot of gears, even a human can carry a big. Okay, you use a rope. I mean chain. You pull a chain, you can carry even 500 kilo. There's a lot of pulleys in there. It's a standard thing in mechanical engineering. Okay, but this person carry from this side. Obviously, this thing will fall down. It injured him. Okay, if you carry it from the middle, nothing will happen. So this guy was totally badly injured, full of blood. Everyone thought he was dead. And then he went to hospital for many months, and finally came back to the factory. And then he approached me. Okay, he approached me and said, "Prashobh, they asked me to go for operation because his hand can only go up to here, cannot go further up. Okay, because his backbone had some injury. Okay, so a private hospital want to charge 50,000, the company will pay to operate on the spine. He was scared. I said, "Sure, you gotta help me. I know you know a lot of doctor friends. Okay, they want to operate my spine. I'm scared now. I heard operate on spine, maybe die. I don't want to die so early. He's a young guy. So okay, I call my friend, Dr. Ravi. Okay, Dr. Ravi. You can even mention. Dr. Ravi is a brain surgeon, my friend. Hey, Dr. Ravi, this worker has a problem. He said, "Don't worry." Dr. Ravi told me, Dr. Wong. Dr. Wong in Kuching General Hospital is a top orthopedic guy in Malaysia. Any place in Malaysia that got a serious orthopedic problem, he'll fly down to solve it. Okay, he's a very top. Okay, in Kuching General Hospital, that means the cheapest one. Okay, so my friend went to see him. Dr. Wong said, nonsense. Why need to operate for this kind of thing? He told my friend, the technician, if your hand can only go until here, you'll go until there the rest of your life. Until you die, your hand can only go until there. Every day you must fight. Physiotherapy. You must fight until you can go up. So after physiotherapy for about 6 months, his hand can go up. Just imagine, if he didn't go to Dr. Wong, his hand would be like here. If he go to the 50,000 ringgit operation, he might die. Okay, so these are interesting things, the options you get. He was lucky, I believe, because I am sure spine operation is very dangerous. Okay? Spine, I believe, is where the life is. Because I had a worker who went to a fight. There's some issues you find. One of my workers actually had a fight with other people, and his skull was totally gone. Okay, the doctor had to cut out the skull. He came to work, we can see his skin here. Okay, he had a fight. Okay, and the doctor had to take out the skull and put it inside his body to keep it alive, keep the skull alive. But he's still alive. His brain is damaged, but he's still alive. But I never heard of someone damaging a spine and still alive. So I believe life is in your spine. Okay, so that's why I believe life is actually in your spine. So you want to operate on your spine, you better think twice. That's probably where your life is. Okay. So this is another question, part of that how WD died question. Is a mistake made by an engineer to lift a platen, 500 kilo platen, the wrong way and causing injury to one of the technicians. So he happened to be my friend. Luckily, I think, because he knew I had some doctor friends. And so my doctor friend was Dr. Ravi, which practically saved his life. Okay, without my contacting Dr. Ravi, that guy might have died. Okay, and why I want to ask you about this is, I've seen other people, rich people, I have pain here, go for operation. Pain here, go for operation. Yeah, pain here, go for operation. While Dr. Wong, who is the top orthopedic guy of Malaysia, say you just have to fight it. Okay, so that's good for you, your knowledge for the rest of your life. It might be some of you become super rich and then you have a pain here. You think of the option. Remember when I tell you that you could have, you probably can solve it without going to the doctor, without getting an operation. Just use physiotherapy. Okay, that means you have a pain, you fight it. Okay, I myself had one backbone pain one time. I'm actually on my life, and one time I had a backbone pain, I can hardly walk. Everyone asking what happened to you? I'm walking, singing. Then one day I was fed up, like so many weeks already like this. I cannot stand. I take my ball, I can barely carry the ball. I go out in front of my house, I have a basketball hoop. A lot of people have a hoop in their house, but they don't put a fence high. It's useless. I put three-layer fence, 3-layer high, so I can play basketball. If not, you don't do that, you'll be retrieving your ball from the drain most of the time. Okay, so that's why I have a proper basketball court in front of my house. So I went and shoot 2 hours with my pain. I don't care. I fight the pain 2 hours. I was cured. Okay, so it's good for you. That's why I asked you this question. Next time you guys might face the same problem of pain in your body, you just fight it. Okay, I heard NBA basketball players, when they have serious injury, the coach asks them to play. Okay, serious injury, coach asks them to keep playing. Somehow your body will, your body might kind of forget about the injury because you are not giving pain to that portion, because your leg can only move like that, and you cannot move further. Say you're a basketball player, so you can only move like that, because your body tells you no need to repair because you don't move like that. Okay, but if you force it and you force force your body, then your whole body will realize, hey, we need to repair that. The body, will say, hey, we need to repair the thing. If not, this human being will start moving, and we got to find, so the body itself will try to repair the thing. Okay, we have self-healing things in our body, okay. Okay, so remember, this what I told you today is pretty much just one question. Okay, two portions lah. The big portion is how WD died, and the second portion is how the accident happened. You can mention Dr. Ravi, Dr. Wong, all that lah, and my name, whatever lah. Okay. I mean, these are situations that you see in factory that solve problems, you see. So this is like a case study of how a problem was solved, a big problem, which someone might have died. Okay, so the problem was solved. 2 times he might have died. When the accident happened, everyone was sure he died because there's so much blood and the site. Okay, I saw the blood. It was crazy amount of blood all over the place in the site. So everyone was sure he died, and then he survived. And then they wanted to operate him, that could have killed him again. And so he escaped dead 2 times. Okay, the technician. Okay, and I somehow met him again later because when we got retrenched, I worked for another place, and happened to be one of the person there was his younger brother. So I met him again in his house. Okay. Okay, okay, let's end our class today.